people at 8 o'clock on Friday at the former gas station.
Yeah, 8 a.m., right? You know,
I suggested an early meeting is better for you. Okay. I'll confirm that with them. Because I'm gonna talk about that later in the meeting, but you don't need to stay around for the whole thing. I can catch you up on that grant project. Which is a new one. All right, I'm gonna start recording.
Recording in progress.
We're now recording and we are here on July 7th at 7 p.m. for the trustees meeting. We have with us in person, our guests, the Corey family. We also have in person Jeannie Jenkins, Chris Damon, and then by Norm is here, we trustees, Doug, and then by Zoom, we have Kim Hall, Matthew Patterson, and Robert Novak. So let's begin. First thing is to address the public attendees and amend the agenda if needed. I do have some amendments to the agenda, so I will mention those. First off is under new business, Michael Fernandez, BCCD. We are deferring that until August. His documentation on that just came out recently, and it works better for all of us if we defer him. Instead, we are going to add under new business, open meeting law group training for July 21st. I did send everybody an email on that already, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. We're also going to do a group, whoever wants to attend, this also was sent to everybody, ordinance adoption and enforcement seminar, webinar on July 15th here. There was also an email sent out about the Bennington Museum's road race, and we'll just talk about that, mention that, and see whether Lori thinks we have to have anything in the minutes. Finally, under the old business, I'll mention the Voltrek renewal, which is the EV station stuff there. So with that, the Corys, please, floor is yours.
At the June 8th, 2026 status hearing, the judge had the village attorney and our attorney resolve any issues on the last 4 applications, taking them one by one after each attorney will reply. Application 153 entries for bylaw to show exact ownership of land. Village attorney, no issues. Our attorney, no issues. Application number 6, big shop with apartment, big shop used to store equipment. Had certificate to occupy for 20 years. Village attorney, no issue. Our attorney, no issues. Application 11. Convert for bylaw showing work conforms to 2006 settlement agreement. Village attorney, no issues. Our attorney, no issues. Application 12, Paddle building was issued a permit that tried to take away. Judge asked our attorney if he filed the form. Our attorney said yes. Village attorney, no issues. Our attorney, no issues. When all 4 were done, judge said case is dismissed, case is closed. Have all recorded in Bennington land records. We now can be living the dream at a 40 acres property. The Corey family had private keys, and we'll hand deliver the copies.
Okay, I'm a little concerned that there is some confusion because the case, the environmental court findings that we have conclude this. And this was done back in April. The conclusion of the court was, and this was to talk about well, it goes back to,
There's one for Lori.
okay, this goes back, Ed, to The permits were applied for. 6 were referred to the DRB, Development Review
I
Board.
can't hear you, Mary.
6 applications were sent to the DRB for review.
This is.
The development.
Oh, what happened?
No, let me go through the history. The Development Review Board denied 6 permits. You, as a landowner, have a right to appeal Development Review Board decisions. That appeal was done. Your attorney filed that
Oh,
appeal.
this is all what happened June 6th.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Okay. On back prior to that, this was a motion filed in February. Then your motion, your attorney, but sir, you are so mistaken. You need, Ed, please consult your attorney. You're not reading this correctly. These cases, the village's motion to dismiss appellant Corey's statement of questions granted in part and denied in part. For the foregoing reasons, the village's motion to dismiss questions 1, 6, and 11 is granted. Those are dismissed. They were not talked about. They were dismissed a while ago. Questions 5 and 6 are dismissed by voluntary withdrawal by Mr. Corey's attorney. Question 12, the village's motion to dismiss was denied because before or on April 14th, 2026, the appellants, Corey's, are directed to file a clarified question 12, providing an understanding of how these issues relate to the matters pending before the court and this court's jurisdiction as defined therein. If no question is filed on or before the date, the question will be dismissed. What Mr. Corey is talking about, and he's referring to June 8th, in that one, that final count, application 12, that was dismissed by the court because they were unable to provide legal basis for upholding it. I'm totally upset that Mr. Corey is not understanding what his attorney is doing and telling him. It is every citizen's right to appeal. We uphold a citizen's right to appeal. But this is frighteningly incorrect. There is no such decision that Mr. Corey is fancifully imagining.
Just have Lori attach the findings to the minutes,
We'll just have to do that,
then it's out there,
but
then it becomes part of, well, it's
Yeah.
public record
Right.
anyway, but
it's,
they brought it up, so then you just put the
yeah,
findings on
Well-
some minutes.
it's a little disturbing when residents that we care about, all our residents are so ill-informed. But it is not our position. The attorney should be doing so. At any rate, if they don't want to hear, they don't want to hear. Moving on. We are going to approve the minutes of July 9th. And starting today, after we do this, we are
June
going
9th,
to, pardon?
June 9th.
June 9th, whatever, sorry,
That's okay.
I'm still mystified. Starting today, those of us in attendance are going to sign the minutes. We have signed our warrants, but not our minutes. And I have recently learned, hence we're gonna do some open meeting law training, that there were some things inadvertently may have been missing, or even though they are filed, they may not be clearly identified as such. So we are going to do this right after the meeting. I will scan, along with our agenda, the approved minutes, the approved warrants. And when it comes to Doug's turn, he'll talk about a little change that we've made to the warrants to be able to comply with some open meeting law. So That said, just so you know, we'll take a look at the minutes. They were slightly amended from the first ones I sent out because I had Miss Polly Rains's name spelled wrong. Did you all have a chance to review the minutes?
I did not,
I did,
Okay,
so
well, they
I'm
were
going
sent.
to abstain.
but I read the original
Okay,
submission, so
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
okay. Any other questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. I'll sign this at the end, but if you want to start with the last page, putting a signature, that would be helpful. Just to help Norm out a little bit, Doug kindly suggested that we move the approval of warrants down to his treasurer's report and move right now into the highway department to save Norm a little time. So,
Okay,
all yours.
so, this month, we've been working on, Hall Street,
I'm gonna
starting
abstain.
drainage.
But, we passed them, so you have to sign them anyway.
So we've been working on Hall Street, working on the drainage, we've been working on some level line replacements. There is, some houses have like a foot piece of lead line that was left on the main years and years ago, long before my time or anybody else's. It's employed from built at this point in time. We've corrected 5 so far on that street. I think there's 12 to do. We've done 1 fire hydrant. The second one will be done soon. Again, in a cost saving measure for both departments, we have had offered that they could do some in-kind work for us. On that, because of on our drainage side, just to have an extra person, and they have accepted that, so that was working pretty well. Both departments working together, so you'll see, just for clarity on keeping things, invoices out and then invoices in. But make sure they don't get approved until I put my stamp on it, right? So I don't know when they're gonna show up. Other than that, we're going good.
Wellingfield?
Wellingfield, all the topsoil's been dozed off. We got talked to the state today about borrowing their hydro seeder to hydro seed that side, which we have all the materials in stock from when we started this project. Met with the fencing guy yesterday,
Oh.
so depends, you might see something this week, but very, very soon you're gonna see. the
But we
fencing.
did purchase the fencing, correct?
We purchased it and
Yeah.
actually paid to install
Okay,
it.
Right, because yeah, we did, that, the bill had come in full and Norm was comfortable, so we had paid that
Good.
one.
Yeah.
And in full, it's a local guy who does a lot of
Okay.
work, so. we
So
weren't-
that's just 600 feet, so, once it'll come the roadside, and then we'll decide whether we need to go down the other side,
okay,
like it was at one time, but, so that should be there. As soon as that's done, we'll remove all those unsightly logs that are there, just to
Yeah.
keep somebody from driving up in. And,
and then later in the summer, I think it was September, we were gonna do the canopy grant and put the new trees in.
but you do, yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
How do you feel the grass is doing on the field?
the grass has got a lot of clover in it, and, we've called the company several times, that used to sell us our grass seed. And of course, the guy that we worked very well with is retired 2 years ago, and now it's almost time to start looking for another company,
Oh,
Oh,
so.
does that need to be treated or?
It does, it needs something, it needs something, and, I know, sometimes in the past, the villages had very strong feelings on, treatments
Yeah,
to lawns, weed feed and stuff like that, but, we've spent a fortune on that, to have it full of weeds, just not,
yeah,
that's not a
good thing.
not a good thing. We gotta get it right before,
But is that in
Fall
any
season.
way, is that in any way a liability to the seed company? Or is it just
No.
perhaps that all that was
No,
already in the ground?
no, that was, could be already in the ground, could have been in the
Could have been
compost,
soil.
I mean, you know, it's from one end of it to the other, you know.
Maybe we should, maybe a few people, one or two should take a trip up there with you, take a look at it and then come back with a recommendation of what to do. There's been way too much work and effort put into that to not have it be
To have a
right.
nice, I mean, it's supposed to be a nice plush lawn.
Yeah.
And, you know, but obviously the first growing season didn't help us and, I mean, it's all green, it's growing good, but.
But it's not grass.
I mean,
Okay,
it's not all grass.
yeah, okay,
Could it be used this fall for athletics or,
I think so,
yeah,
you
okay.
know, I mean, we've had a pretty good, you know, summer so far, everything, nothing's been burnt off and stuff, and, you know, so I think they can,
do you want to check with Mark Boudreau?
Yeah.
Would you mind
We'll
doing
take
that?
a walk up.
Yeah,
take a look,
And
yeah.
see if he maybe has some plans or some wish list users?
He does, I think he does have one team lined up, I think it's wiffle ball
Okay,
for the fall. But I don't know if that's written in stone
Okay.
or whether it's, maybe or what, so yeah, I'll touch base with him.
great, thank you. And then it's year end and I know you've been busy and been away, but was hoping that you could do just a very brief review of the major projects that were accomplished in this past fiscal year.
in the past fiscal year, probably one of our biggest was the sidewalk on Church Street.
Yep,
We got that done, we put in some, solar signage on the end of the corner for kids walking and stuff like that. Couple big culvert jobs, one on Wellings Road, we actually did in the winter, cause not last winter, but the winter before was, we had a break in the season, so we actually did that one early.
Park Street, you did a lot on Park Street.
Yeah, we put on that
River.
big ditch on Park Street that kept the water from going down onto, Water Street. And that seemed to work very well this year. We never had any ice on it and we had a tremendous amount of water running off the side of the mountain, so. You know, that ditch is, you know, worked in years, we'll tune it up and make it a little bit nicer as we go. You know, that's, those are some of the big projects that we dealt with.
And then for the coming fiscal year, clearly working on the rest of Hall Street.
Currently working on the rest of Hall Street, hopefully tightening up the intersection at the bottom by the library on the bottom of West Street. Then going back to Hall Street and putting the second piece of drainage, we're waiting on all the easements paperwork. You know, our target is to pave that next year, which right now we're still on target for that. You know, all our water lines will be, all be done.
Mhm.
You know, so. You know, I mean, it's just little things like that that just
Okay.
keep going. We have noticed as we expose the water main that there's, voids underneath it, and, that's really not great.
does that
because we
mean?
can't-
What
That
does
means
that
there's a
mean?
hole, like a sinkhole underneath it.
okay.
And, you know, hopefully they're not too bad. We found two of them so far and, you know, we can't really do anything with it. We pack as much material in there as we can and that's it, so.
As far as we know, the town of Bennington is not doing anything with the sewer line?
As we stand right now, yes.
Okay,
Yes, so, but it's okay, you know what I mean,
Okay.
so. I'm hoping, we still have that. I know they want to do some camera work there
okay,
before they make their final decision, but. They've been busy with a couple projects and we certainly been busy
Okay.
there, so.
any questions for Norm? Do you have just a few minutes? David is gonna talk about the depot, and I know you've been involved in that.
Yeah, you wanna do that?
Yes, please.
So, Norm brought to my attention weeks ago. Damage around the dormers on the depot building here. And I helped him find someone to do repair work. on these. Of course, not accustomed to the technology yet, but do have images.
Let's see, if we, for those on Zoom, it's probably gonna be hard to get this on Zoom. However, we will load all of these pictures on the, along with the agenda and the minutes and any other materials we talk about. So they'll be on the website and available if anybody would want them. If you're in the audience, feel free to come
Yes.
closer
sorry.
if you want to take a look.
Anyway, it's pretty straightforward. It's just all these type of dormers here. What's happened is on the eave side of these dormers.
Here it is. Sorry, I can't help with technology. Do not ask me.
You see that in some places, the fascia, on the eave, the crown molding is missing. It's completely rotted off.
Right.
In many areas. Most every dormer on the building is affected. There's one here. It's hard to see again, but there's.
Oh, there's a big hole.
Big hole
Yeah.
in that part of the fascia on the gable end. But what I noticed was on all these dormers, there's no drip edge. And so what's happening is the water is
Water's going.
going down the roof and following along the
Oh,
eave and just
okay.
and probably in many places getting in behind the moldings, behind the wood.
Where would the drip edge go? For those of us who don't understand and know what this is.
That's what they're. The fall here.
Here's a bag.
We'll put this in too. So
Okay.
could you point to me on
So-
that picture since I don't know?
On this, in this diagram,
Okay,
there's the bottom diagram shows no drip edge. And basically
Okay.
what happens is the water runs down and just clings to the side of the fascia.
Okay.
This is the roof edge with no drip edge. And up here where the drip edge is, and what it has is a little kicker on the end, a piece of metal.
oh,
Diverts it from the building.
Yeah,
oh,
so
okay,
it kicks it away from
okay,
the trim.
The
Okay.
surface tension in the water is what drags it onto the
Uh-huh.
surface and behind.
So what we have is just, dormers with no drip edges on it, and, before replacing the crown molding on all these, we should look at somebody fixing the roof. and
Okay.
adding a drip edge.
okay,
So at this point, where I'm at is, I've spoken to, Vince Corcoran, who many may know. He does a lot of work around North Bennington, and, I've asked him to look at it and see if he was interested in working on it.
mhm,
Really, because it's a one-man job. You gotta
Okay.
put a person up on a lift and just replace short sections of roof eaves and
okay,
crown molding. And Vince has done a lot of work on my house. If you go around
okay,
my house, on that front porch, there's a molding on top of the columns. He made all those
okay,
himself. And he's very good at and enjoys restoration work.
good.
So,
He did the dormers on my house.
Yeah.
So just.
he's
to
working on
keep-
Matt's
yeah,
front porch.
Good, so just to keep with policy, do we know anybody else who does restoration?
We've
From
tried
Murray, I know you've talked. to Murray.
numerous.
Okay,
I would tell you, you get, we get somebody that has a reparable work, and I've seen this gentleman's work at other residences in town.
Yeah.
With older house, like,
Yeah.
with the detail work that we had.
Yeah.
If we get somebody to latch on, and again, with the, just a estimate of the
Yeah.
prices. We
I'm-
need to go.
oh,
We
I'm
can't-
totally okay with
we
that,
can't-
I just want to make sure then that we put in our minutes that we attempted to follow our policy and
we've
were
had
unable to secure
Several contracts.
other, okay,
I can provide you his name. for
Yeah. that would be, yeah,
what we talked.
So the other issue on this is fixing the roof. above
Oh.
those moldings. And so I'm.
Is it the whole roof? I mean, all the stuff that slopes down or just the roof
Just
of
the
the dormer?
dormers.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just the dormer?
I think the main roof is working okay.
Okay.
And
The
so,
main roof was redone not too long ago, and
Yeah.
then the lower roof was recoated a couple years ago, but they've done some work on those dormers.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, you,
period, correct, and maybe that's where we need to get away from.
yes,
You,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and so,
I think it looks like the original roof is still on looking from the ground, it looks like the original tin roof or metal roof that was on there is still
Okay.
there. And you suggested that somebody may have put a membrane on top.
yeah, they might have, they did some work,
Put some kind of membrane. Lori, do you remember that?
there was some work
I
on those
seem to
dormers.
think that there was some kind of membrane, and Matthew might remember too.
I do know that I know that the product came from Pennsylvania. There were two different products. One was called Acromax.
Oh,
The roof and the dormers are two different guys.
okay. But there was something that we all seem to remember was done.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
Sorry, but
no,
I would remark that this back quadrant,
mhm,
there's definitely water there rotting out the beautiful underside of the extended E.
yeah,
Right, we coated that 2 years ago, that slowed that down, but the damage is very bad.
Yeah,
No.
but there, it's clear water ran right down that.
Do we
ridge.
need to contact the historic preservation people? You mentioned something that we're doing this to historic spec and maybe we shouldn't, if I'm hearing,
I'm all for that. I mean, why not?
okay,
You know, just don't take a chance on it.
Okay.
And that may have been part of the issue when they worked on it before, I don't know. But I'm gonna meet with Mike Patton from Vermont Roofing.
okay,
I know Mike a long time and, I'm just looking for some feedback from Mike and some possibly a budget.
okay,
If we want to search other roofers, we can do that. Again, it's not a lot of companies out
Yeah.
there, but, you know, I know I can work with Vermont Roofing. Maybe you've worked with Vermont Roofing, but,
yeah,
you know, anyway, I'm gonna start there.
yeah,
And so, we're gonna look at the roof, putting on drip edges and see what needs to be done to the top. Get a piece of the molding down and find a shop, Ray may know some, that may reproduce the molding if it's not a stock item. And put together a package of, you know, material, labor costs and see where we're at
okay,
for addressing that.
Well,
times 12,
Times
12 east, dormers, okay.
You're talking about the dormers. the
Yes.
moldings on-
Yeah.
Well, I know we have a reserve. What's in the reserve? I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I know that we had agreed to a plan that never came to fruition with a company that was gonna do something every year.
Can we
right,
get
we'll do some painting.
Yeah.
full scale drawings of the moldings?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be good.
yeah, no, it'd be good to have for a record, but.
Yeah.
For
as long as
reference
the
and
depth-
for.
And a good thing to do this well ahead of our budgeting, which will be on us in no time,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, so, just, I brought up, Vince, Vince still wants, I don't wanna totally commit him at this
Yeah.
point. He wants a chance to look at it up close. I know
Okay.
Norm has a lift. We discussed possibly, you know, getting that out
Good.
there and getting a better view
Yeah.
of everything up there. And then Vince will let me know for sure. But I think he's really
Yeah.
interested in, like I
Well,
said, he likes doing that kind
yeah.
of
That'd
work.
be a nice job for him.
I think so. I
And
think
like
so.
you all
Especially if there's a
say,
lift.
there's not enough people
Yeah,
to
you
do the
need a
work,
lift.
and we can't just sit around and watch it fall apart.
Yeah, it's in pretty bad shape.
Yeah. Thank you,
So, okay, that's it.
thank you. I know between you and Norm, you'll send us in the right direction.
Good. Yeah,
So
I think
thank you. And Ray, you've got experience too, so feel free to chime in or take part or do whatever you want.
I'm gonna wait for drawings.
Oh, okay.
I'll volunteer to back prime,
All right.
maybe not volunteer.
Okay.
but I will
So,
stand on the ground and paint the back before. we
well,
put
this
it
is
in.
good. We're actually a little bit.
Yeah, I
maybe a
think
little
it
bit ahead
does.
of time.
Oh, yeah.
Let's look at the warrants then.
I think you're going normal now, right?
Yeah, Norm, unless you're welcome to stay, but I know you generally have things
For
to
the
do.
warrant, just in case you guys.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, so you got several warrants in front of you. I'm gonna start with the one that looks normal, or the one that's always been there. So with June 30th being fiscal year end, Lori and I kept plowing through invoices and bills as they came in. To get things paid and on the books for fiscal year end. And I'll talk more about that in my meeting. So the warrant that is listed as late June is a total of 72,329.29. Some of the bigger items on there I can explain and then Norm can hit if there's any other questions. VLCT, that is the quarterly insurance payment, so that's a normal. The very bottom are fire items. So they had repairs and work on one of the trucks. And then they had equipment that they had purchased as part of their budgeting. So that's those items down there. Norm, the only other ones that are on here that are larger is the weed precast for 6,400.
Yep, those are all street,
I just didn't know which, was that the,
drop inlets, the concrete structure.
Okay.
and then the next largest was the Voltrek, which Mary's going to talk about. And then Murray Brothers at just over 11,000.
That was for the grant, for the,
Yes, the weatherization. grant.
weatherization.
Weather.
Yeah, and we will, that was submitted. All I need is just that canceled check.
Yep.
And we'll get our.
We'll check, so I can check again
Oh,
tonight.
thank you.
And which building was that done on? The
It's done on.
Garage.
Garage.
That's the garage,
Okay,
yeah.
thanks.
So that's, I mean, other than that, everything is pretty much normal bills that would have been on
Right.
the July warrant that we paid them there. So if there's no other questions, then it's again, 72,329.29.
And there is also one for Neil Kenyon. That was also, grant work.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the firehouse or for?
Some of it for the firehouse and some of it for, purchasing equipment for the bathroom upgrades that we're gonna
Right.
do. Only the downstairs. There is another bill for the upstairs bathroom that's not part of the grant, which we'll talk about that later.
And the firehouse was?
Was, doing, there was work that had to be done to put the right kind of louvers that weren't.
Oh, on
working.
the outside, yes,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yep,
So there's.
I'll move this,
There.
warrant. The one he just,
Okay.
highlighted.
sorry,
Yes.
I missed what Norm said.
Norm is helping do.
There's still some ongoing work there at the firehouse, there's some ongoing work.
Right.
At our.
Yeah.
At our garage, they're redoing the siding at the back of the building,
Yep,
above the roof on the addition that the water department is in.
okay,
You could look from the inside to the outside, it was like looking at the stars all over, so. You know, a couple things that they're tightening up and then hopefully the window will get put in this week. And we should wrap up with the construction phase, then there's the insulating, the ceiling, and then the furnace phase.
okay,
We're getting,
Excellent.
good, that's progress.
Yes, it is. So you made the motion,
To
Scott?
approve, yes.
And I'll second it.
Seconded there. Any questions? Tara, any questions from you? Nope, all in favor?
I,
Okay, so we'll move on to the next one, which is a two-part. The top is a normal, this is the July bills, so this is a very small, because like I said, we, everything that was dated for June, we paid through the end of the month. So the July warrant is just for 5,236.01, and there's really nothing out there of note. I'll talk about West Oil in my
Mhm.
regular report. So unless there's any questions, we need a motion for the July warrant.
Well, we could, since they're all on one page.
You wanna
we
do
should
both?
Yes.
Okay,
let's do them both.
So as part of Mary's explanation for the open meeting, we have to change how we do the payroll warrant. So going forward, this is how the payroll warrant is going to look. You're going to see the breakdown of the taxes, the fees, and the retirement. And then the payroll dollars is going to be listed as a whole amount. So the grand total is the same as it's been,
Okay,
as you would always see.
Yeah.
It's just not broken out by person. That was an item that Mary got during open meeting law that has to be changed. So you'll see this will read the dates of the payroll, so you'll always see if there was 2 or 3 pay periods
Mhm.
based on the taxes and the fees for the payroll company, the retirement amounts, and then you'll see the very last item, date just says June, name is payroll, and then it's a grand total. And that is always backed up in QuickBooks, and we have our reporting. So for auditing purposes, we have everything that we need.
sorry, I took it that it was to be identified, but we're taking identification of the person.
Don't, yes, you don't list
Okay.
person's name and payrolls.
Okay,
Correct. So it's just a grand
So
total.
privacy.
That's
It's a total.
exactly a privacy
Yep.
issue,
Yeah.
because from now on, these warrants are also gonna go on the website along with the minutes, the agenda, the minutes, the warrants, and any other materials that we discuss. Because the whole idea is the public has the right to be aware and to know what we talk about.
So then the payroll warrant is in the amount of $17,085.69. So the motion would be for the July warrant and the payroll warrant.
You know, maybe could we put a total warrant in the next time and add these 2 numbers?
You really wanna do that? We've never tallied payroll with
Okay,
regular.
we don't have to.
I mean, I'm just wondering if you're getting a little too murky with your totals.
Okay,
If that's what
you
you
know what?
wanna do
No,
it.
no, I think you're right. Let's leave it this.
so,
We'll leave it on one page. We'll make one motion.
Well, and
there's
sometimes it may be
numbers.
2 pages.
Oh,
You know,
that's true.
because like if this was our regular warrant, I wouldn't put payroll on the same page.
Okay,
So it would still potentially be a second warrant per se, but it would not have the names and the amounts.
okay,
So that's
I
the
get
big
you.
change.
so,
I get you,
so
I agree.
the warrants are going to be posted on the website,
correct.
and they haven't been posted previously? Okay,
Well,
Now-
they'll be posted pending approval. Once they're
Yes.
approved, when the minutes get uploaded, they'll now be attached to the minutes.
Now, I don't want to get too deep into this now because I can talk about it later. But having this on the website does not overshadow the fact that we still need to keep written records according to the statute of records retention and our policy for records retention. We can't say, well, some are on the website and some might be electronically. You can't do that. We do not have all electronic records. And even if we did, who the heck, where are they? Who would find them? How would how would the average person even get to them? Or any of you? So we still have all of these warrants that I could ever find, going back probably 10 years, are in a file by year. And I have warrants, agendas, and minutes for all the meetings. But I don't necessarily have some of the supporting materials. And to be fully transparent, they're not on the website. Only the minutes are on the website. You can find an agenda, but you have to go to a calendar. It's not easy to find in one spot. So we'll talk about that, and we'll all know the reason when we do our open meeting training. Back to you, Warren.
Should make a motion.
Yes.
I move that we approve the July warrant for $5,236.20, as well as the payroll warrant for June 2026 for the amount of $17,085.69.
Second,
Okay with that, Tara? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I will send these for signature. And Doug, still you.
Okay. All right, so we have several items to go over. I'm just trying to see what's gonna be the best order. So I'll do the West Oil one first. That's not a very long conversation. So West Oil, David, we pre-buy through West Oil. We've done it for a number of years. We typically do a 10-month budget plan. They set us up usually starting in August. And then we have 10 equal payments and we're either over, under, whatever. This year we did go over, as I think almost anybody who had a budget plan did. It was not significant, on that July warrant. $763.64 was the amount that we went over. It was less than 1,000 gallons total that we went over for our 3 locations. So I reached out to them regarding budget. Obviously, everybody knows the price of oil is all over the place right now. So they anticipate their budget plans to be out in August. I think we probably want to have 2 conversations once we see their number. One, do we want to go on a budget plan, or do we want to see and just pay as we go if the majority of folks think oil may start to come down? Or do we go with their budget plan, or do we send out an RFP to other, we've been with West Oil for as long as I've done it.
Yeah, and-
Well into when Mary was doing
Yeah.
it. So again,
Probably is a good, that's a good suggestion. We should probably do a new RFP.
One point, if we're putting in these heat pumps, are they
Yeah.
working during the winter?
The heat pumps will work during the winter.
I was thinking-
And we hope, well, we should use a lot less fuel.
Yeah.
So that's also
right,
a thing to consider.
yeah, and I don't think, I mean, we won't be able to project that for at least the first year or two.
We're gonna need.
Because we're gonna have to do the usage based on,
Right.
you know, what our past usage is.
Understood.
And if we send the RFP, I would just, we keep a spreadsheet, so I would just take the last 2 to 3 years and send that to,
And we may.
you know,
wanna
3
say that
different
we
places.
do
Well,
expect some-
if we're, it all depends on when the heat pumps get installed and start being operational.
Right, so this full heating season, we could be a regular,
Yeah.
you know, under a regular
Yeah.
These
operation
heat
as we've been.
pumps, this system has to be fully done before December. Should be fully done by the end of September, ideally.
Okay.
Because we are running to the end of the permissible grant period.
Yeah.
We're looking at it.
Be aware of your electric bill.
Yeah, the electric bill will be
Right.
different.
Right.
That's another subject to talk about another time.
So that's where we're at. So once I have the West Oil number, that will give me, you know, indication, and I'm hoping, if I don't see it by the end of this month, I'm gonna email again. And just say, hey, we've got a meeting coming up, so we'll probably put this on the August meeting, hopefully to have a discussion and move forward with some, you know, with something.
May I ask a question? If you go ahead with a budget billing. And if we're because we get the heat pumps installed and we're under, then we end up not paying.
So what happens in that scenario typically is, because the budget pretty much goes through May to June, depending on when it
Yeah.
starts.
Right.
So usually what they will have you do is pay through at least May, because usually end of April, beginning of May is your last delivery
Yeah.
of oil before the summer.
Yeah.
So if we have an overage, typically what will happen and what we've done in the past, and I can
Is
show you the
we'll
spreadsheet.
Carry it over.
Exactly, that amount just stays on the
Okay.
account. If we were to change, we would just request a check and they
Yeah.
would send us the amount that we, you know, prepaid for, and then we would have a credit back and apply it towards, you know, whoever we went to. And I think the prior year we had I think we had a $200 credit.
Yeah.
This year we had you know, again, it was like $700.
Yeah.
That we went over, so it's, you know, our usage doesn't change very much.
Right.
This year, the overage was more for the, you know, the price that went up, we had that really big cold snap,
Prices
so.
and Cold snaps.
Right, so when we did go over, it was at a much higher price than
Yeah.
what our budget plan
That
was.
happened to the best of us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the West Oil. So now I'll talk about, the year end, beginning of the year end items. Y'all should have the, I sent it out in the annual report format, because I think that's what everybody's most familiar with. So that we have that. Now, this is all preliminary. I will do a final reconciliation, by the end of this month, prior to the August meeting, because if everybody remembers, in the August meeting, we have to vote on the tax rate. So all of the final things will be in there. All these last few invoices, I think I got most of these into this. There's some reconciliations I have to do, so there'll be a little bit more interest that goes into income. So there will be some changes, but I don't think anything is going to be too drastic. So we can talk about this briefly, and then we can, again, fully talk about it more in August. But for the most part, we're in good shape. The general government, between the depot reserve and the carryover, miscellaneous revenue and zoning permits, so basically all of our income allowed for a positive of just a hair under 65,000. Majority of that, what we will probably end up doing is carrying it forward for the roof work that we were just talking about. So the vast majority of that will be a carryover. Fire department, same thing. They did a great job. Chief was able to come in under budget on a few of his things. So that, again, we will probably do a carryover for some of the improvements at the firehouse itself. Things that may not be covered by the grant, as work is being done. So that in the neighborhood would probably be 10,000. Public Works was basically a wash. We advanced 20,000 from the Parks Reserve. If you remember, we had conversations about the Welling Field and the Lions Park projects. So once the ARPA money was expended for Welling Field, we don't carry a big parks budget, so we use the reserve. And there still is money, and I'll talk about the reserves momentarily. So we advanced 20,000, which basically brought Public Works to a wash. It was a $500 overage. Highway, that's gonna be the big one, for an overage. And a lot of that ties back to projects that carried over between 2 fiscal years. So Norm is working on Hall Street, where a lot of that was budgeted for the coming fiscal year, but he's starting the work, so we have bills. Same thing with, you remember, he bought a piece of equipment that was to be used for that. So those items are in there. So right now, the highway is over by 70,000. Again, it sounds like a big number, but probably half of that would have normally been spent in the next fiscal year.
Right.
The part of that offset does come from grants. We do have grant income versus grant expenses, and this year we have a positive of a little over 32,000. So if we tie that into the highway, it does offset a portion of that. So if you remember, when we do the tax rate, the grant item doesn't have its own line item, it goes under the highway. So when we're plugging those figures in, that's where that goes. Other than that, the other items, other organizations, there was a slight overage. The trustees had voted to pay a little bit more for a couple of the items during the year. We had given Parent Rec an extra 1,000, and I think there was a 500 on one of them. Insurance was almost right on, and contingency, that's just a
Do we still,
Reserve.
I'm sorry, do we still owe Parent Rec any money?
no, I think we're all set. I just noticed that. I think
Okay.
that's just, I think I may not have zeroed that one out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll double check, but I think
Okay.
we squared, I think we
I
had taken
thought,
care of
I
that.
thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the preliminary. I don't think there's gonna be a great any great changes to it. It'll be a few things that, again, once I'm reconciling the final bank statements, there might be a deposit here or there that didn't get put in yet. Most of the bills are in automatically because they have to go on the warrant, so I don't expect too many of those. Over the next couple of weeks, we may get a bill that's dated for June, so it would go into QuickBooks as of June, so there could be a couple of, but we're not expecting any large items to come through. All the reserves were funded, so reserve wise, we're fine. You had asked about the depot reserve. Right now, the depot reserve is just a hair under 18,000.
That won't go far.
But the flip side is there's the money that wasn't spent on, that we just talked
That's
about.
correct, yes.
So
because
the carryover.
We thought that
Correct.
was gonna be done this last.
Correct, so there
So,
was
yeah.
money set aside that didn't get spent.
Yeah.
Which would be going towards that, so while the depot reserve is not that high,
Yeah.
the carryover will be able to be in that ballpark.
And when we do our budget, or even when we do our tax rate,
Right,
if we know of items that we under budgeted or are insufficient, we can add them in.
And that happens in August?
yeah,
Yes, once Doug just needs it.
and it can be an estimate at
Yeah.
that point, but we'll have a carryover already.
Yeah.
My guess is the carryover is gonna be in the $50,000 range,
Okay.
plus or minus.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
right.
and then there's money budgeted for next year already, so we would have money earmarked. The other thing that the trustees can do too is the money that was set to go into the reserve, they can vote to use the money instead of putting it in the reserve.
Mhm.
So instead of putting it in one hand,
Yeah.
it can go that route.
Okay.
So to tie into that, we will probably need to do a tax anticipation loan. We haven't done one in a few years for the village. If you remember, the last one we did was when we had the culvert work,
Mhm.
over on, Overley. So we're kind of probably going to be in the same boat this year, where with the money for the highway projects being spent and we don't start getting our real significant income until October. So once I do the final reconciliation by the end of this month, I'll know, but what I'm thinking we may want to do, if the trustees would be willing to, is I've already spoken to our bank, which is Community Bank, and the tax anticipation loan is they are able to do that without a problem. We don't have to go to anybody else. It can be done right through them. They've already sent me some of the preliminary things. So what we would need to do is if we wanted to do a motion today, we could do a motion for a tax anticipation loan up to, I'm going to say 250,000. I don't think we're gonna need nearly that much, but that gives the leeway to be able to process it. And then it would be to approve myself and Mary to sign as chairperson and treasurer with Community Bank. That way there, we could get the paperwork going. And if they needed to and wanted to get it closed before the meeting in August, we would be able to provide them with the minutes.
Probably a wise idea to do that.
I would make a motion to pursue that.
Yeah.
Get the paperwork started tonight.
And
We'll do
even,
the voting
and
tonight.
again, we can always prepay this.
Yep.
So we can mitigate interest costs.
And you don't have to take the whole amount either. right?
Correct. And that's why the language is up to.
Yeah.
So if it's set up for 250,000, we only need 100,000, that's all we're charged for. The
Yeah.
interest is based on the money that would be used from that. There would be some fees, it's gonna be minimal, as far as the bank goes, it's not going to be anything significant. In the grand scheme of things, and it's not a,
So this is basically a line of credit, basically.
it's not really a line of credit, it's just it's a loan that advances is the best way to put it. Because once we pay it back, we're not taking it again. A line of credit implies as you pay back, you can use it again.
Well, there's a limited time period you have it for, right? I mean,
Yes,
Like-
you pay
like-
them,
Yes,
you
oh,
always
yeah,
pay
is
it
it
back
like the
December
school-
1st.
the
Yes.
school.
Exactly.
Yes, you pay it back.
So usually they would set the maturity date typically either every bank is a little different. It would be either December 1st, 15th or 30th.
yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on how the bank does it.
Right.
Because they always put it after your tax due date,
Yeah.
which is
Of course.
November the 15th for us, or November the 12th, sorry. So they usually do approximately 1 month after that to give you time to wrap your collections
Yeah.
up. So, right, so the due date would be usually, like I said, December 1st, 15th or 30th.
I totally understand that.
Okay, so Scott offered a motion.
A second.
And seconded there. Any questions from Lori or from Tara? Or Lori? Nope. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, now, let me also ask, while we're still talking about tax anticipation, was it not one of the recommendations from the CPA to build a reserve so that we don't need, so we have that cushion for
Yes.
this?
So that will be a good conversation going forward
Going
also.
forward when we talk about our budget.
The budget, right,
Yeah.
because they, you know,
Yeah.
we were already locked in for, 26, 27.
Yeah,
But yes, I fully am going to be moving
Yeah.
forward with funding a reserve as aggressively as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
not that we would get $250,000 in one fell swoop,
right,
but we.
this
would
is,
work towards
this is the exact thing that he was talking about.
Mhm.
We
But-
run razor thin.
Yeah.
Which is okay, and we're not a big village or a big municipality, so we don't have the ability to, just go gung ho and go forward. It has also been, as our new accountant put it, we've been very good to the taxpayers.
Yeah.
The budget increases have been, if you really look at it, have barely been above inflation. We've been running a 5 to 6% increase as a total. That's not even every line. By most accounts, 3 to 4% is your inflation right now, if not more. That's probably a conservative number. So there's no room to wiggle. So when we get to July 1st, all these bills that are gonna start, we don't have money coming in other than, some collections. The highway money we get quarterly from the state, delinquent taxes is hit or miss. And to be honest, in April, we got, a large chunk, as everybody knows, from the tax sales.
Yeah.
So money that we may have, been able to trickle in September, October from delinquent taxes, we don't really have that number. This is one of the lowest delinquent taxes at this time of the year in the 4 to 5 years that I've been doing it. that
And
we've had.
probably that I can remember.
So, which is a good thing. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a good thing. But then on the income side, it doesn't give us, anything that we may be able to pull in. So building a reserve for, I forget the term that he used, but we'll find out.
But the reserve is different from the tax loan
Yes, the
because it's
reserve,
actually money we're going to put in from taxpayers.
correct. The reserve will be building going forward. So instead of doing a tax loan, the trustees would approve a withdrawal or a transfer from the reserve.
Yeah.
To operating, and it would just be that as opposed to going to the bank and
So we
saying,
self-fund.
exactly,
Interest free.
right? We pay ourselves back is what it would boil down to. So instead of paying the bank back, you pay yourself back. So you get to the point and where the village should probably look is that $250,000 range, because
Yeah.
if you average the bills over the August to October, it's 150 to 200,000 typically.
Mhm.
For the bills, because we figure your payroll is 20,000 a month,
Mhm.
roughly. So you're at, 60 for 3 months right there. So,
And there are a few organizations that we help support that rely on that because they're in the same boat that we are.
right, we've
So-
restructured that as much as we
much as we
can.
can, yeah.
So most of them we do fund after the taxes
Yeah.
begin to roll in, but there are a couple that we pay at least a portion of their annual allotment prior to the taxes.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of payments, like the fire truck payment is due every September.
Mhm.
That's when it's due, so we have to pay that when it comes due, and that's an annual. We do have an offset reserve for the next, I think we're still at 5 years that we offset some of that portion with the reserve, so, but, yeah. The last item that I'm going to bring up, is via payroll and a little bit of HR. So the payroll piece of the village puzzle, and also to a certain degree, the water department, because everybody knows we're all kind of tied together for many things, is becoming more and more, more things to do. That's just the way that it is. There's annual workman's comp audits, there's annual payroll audits, now there's an annual retirement audit. All that falls on me.
And your quarterly.
And quarterly reporting to retirement. Right now, our payroll company basically does the bare minimum, which is what we hired them to do. That I'm not saying they're not doing anything that they're not supposed to, or not doing things they're supposed to be doing, I should say. But we need to move forward, and get expanded payroll and potentially HR services. This is not a tonight decision. This is probably a 6 to 9 month discussion. But we have to start it somewhere, and I think we have to start it now. Because like I said, it's just, there's too many audits that I have to do. I don't have the time to do them all.
Right.
I've been doing this almost 5 years. There's probably twice as many audits than
Yeah.
Mary was doing it.
I wasn't doing this many.
It's just the way of the world. I'm not a payroll person. I don't claim to be, so I do the best that I
That's
can.
preparation for audit.
Yeah. Yeah, so if we move forward with either expanded services from our current, or we switch to another payroll company, we would do an RFP and we would send it out. We're gonna need to iron out what we need to do. And again, this will tie in the water department because as everybody knows, there are things that fall together, like the retirement, it falls for both, because in the eyes of the state, the water department and the village are the same entity because it's one municipality. So I do a payroll audit for both departments.
And workers' comp.
I do work, right, all the things I just mentioned, I do for both. There's a bookkeeper that works for the water department and she's great, but she's not a payroll person, you know, so those are the types of things that we probably need to get off of. I'll say the treasurer, because it's not always going to be me, but the treasurer's plate, the clerk's plate, the bookkeeper's plate, and put it with folks that know what they're doing and know the ever-changing rules, regulations, laws, and things like that.
And I think we need, when we do have these discussions, this is a good seed to plant. When we do have these discussions, clearly, Lori, your thoughts and input is important because you've had no less than a few headaches with the payroll company that we currently have. So your input on this will be very, very important.
Right. And the other piece of that puzzle too, not to interrupt Lori, but the other piece of this puzzle too is we probably have entry-level folks as our reps because of how basic our services are. So if we send out this RFP, you know, we should send it to the company that we use and give them the opportunity. So there may be folks that are a little bit more knowledgeable as we kind of go up the ladder.
I had not thought
With,
about that, but that's.
You know, with services and things like that.
That's
So, you know, that, but we would be clear with them if they sent us a proposal, you know, reiterate what we've had trouble with in the past for reporting and things like that. You know, how would you be able to handle more responsibility? Is it, like I said, a next level up?
Yeah,
person.
but you're right, you know, you give them a chance to.
Oh, yeah.
But again, we would,
A
this would
responsible.
be easy enough to comply with purchasing policy and get multiple.
Oh, yeah, there's
Yeah.
I mean, right off the top of my head, there's 3
Yeah.
payroll companies
Yeah.
that are, you see all the time, so.
No.
We would be able to send it to a minimum of 3 companies and probably get aggressive bids, you know, with proposals and services.
Mhm.
And the other thing that ties into is an HR function component, because you can get a consultant through a lot of these companies, which would help with things. You know, if a new employee is brought on, are we filling out all the right paperwork? I don't know. Mary doesn't, you know, we're not those folks. You know, we have a seasonal employee with the highway department. Do we process the right paperwork? I don't know. We do the best that we can, but you know, are we complying with every single rule and regulation that's out there? So you have these expanded services. You know, you're getting everything done that needs, and those are just a few examples. I'm not saying we're doing anything wrong by any means.
But that is why we are having a brief executive session, so that we can start thinking of some probable lapses in our compliance with labor law. And that'll all tie into what Doug was just saying. Which one thing gets another thing to be thinking about, and so.
Do we know of any examples of other, like the town of Bennington, or anybody that's using and
Well,
payroll?
supervisory union.
Right, so I would, the first two places that I would check with
Largest.
is, like Ray said, supervisory union
Yeah.
and the town of Bennington.
Right.
Who are you guys using for your payroll services?
And we can look at some of the
Yeah, I
small.
mean, you could look at the
municipalities
hospital
that-
too, because they're a large employer.
Yes, but we really want to look at what small employers.
Right, so we wanna mix in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the town of Bennington is probably a very good one just because of the
Yes.
municipality component.
Yes.
Right,
Even though they're bigger, it's still an economy of scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have Arlington and Shasberry and
Absolutely,
all those people that have to do the same things that we do.
Yep.
But
Yep, and
you're
it
right,
could be-
Bennington is good because they're in the same retirement program, et cetera.
right.
Yeah.
Right, cause that's a big component now. It's just,
Yeah.
that's constantly becoming more paperwork.
Well, let us keep that in our mind. Thank you for bringing that up and to our attention. Like Doug said, it's a longer discussion, but we'll start now.
Well, I like the idea of having it streamlined and sort of automated.
Yeah.
Rather than every quarter you have to go, did I forget one?
Well,
or-
I become the middleman, because I have to contact our payroll department to get the payroll report. Then I have to input it to the retirement.
Right,
I'm here, and the same thing with the payroll audit. I have to collect it and then I put it into VLCT. Right now, they had a question about something. I said, here's the report. If it doesn't work, I'll put you in touch with somebody at payroll. I don't have any more information,
right.
so it's,
So it would
Again-
streamline things, I think.
I believe it absolutely
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
And again, we're always thinking about how can we do something a little bit better, because none of us are gonna be here forever. So what is it that we can do to help that knowledge transfer? Thank you. Anything else?
Excellent.
Any questions for Doug?
That's all I have for now.
yeah, I definitely think it would be good to get some of this burden off of you.
Okay. Moving along. Only a little bit behind schedule. Fire department, water department. I have just a very quick update on explaining the rate, the water rate that came out, because we've had a number of questions asking, not suggesting there should not be an increase in the rate, in the water rate. Clearly, there should be. We have had the same rate for a long time, so an increase is warranted. A number of people were questioning, how was it calculated? Why is it the rate it is?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it did take a few months, but there's a very reasonable explanation. And that is, just like Doug was just talking about, the village needing to get a reserve for our tax anticipation, the water department, and by the way, the men and women who serve on the Board of Water Commissioners are equally committed to the village, as are all of we and anyone who sits on any other board or commission. Good people doing hard work and committing themselves to it. So I think we are all grateful to them. So basically, it's this. They had a budget published, it's actually a list of expenses. And their list of expenses is about 500 and rounded up to $555,000 after you take out the bond, which is a separate line on the bill. They treat between 73 and 74 million gallons of water. That's what gets billed out. So if you take that multiplied by the 8.5 per 1,000 gallons, that covers their budget with about $70,000 extra. they need to increase their reserves, much like we do. And there is a long list of improvements and possible repairs that are going to be needed to a century-old system. So it's reasonable, it's
To do
wise
what? Sorry,
to do maintenance to their century-old system.
thank you.
So it is reasonable, it is wise, and I think next year there'll just be a little clearer clarification of how a rate is calculated.
And I will.
A rate is mathematical, there's a numerator and a denominator.
I'll make a quick addition to
Yeah.
that based on the audit.
Yeah,
So the same day that the auditor was here, he was at the water department meeting, which is a public meeting, minutes are out there.
Mhm.
So whereas he said that the village needed to build a reserve for operating, he stated that the water department should be working on the reserve for repairs.
Yeah.
So this ties exactly
Exactly,
into
it does.
what the auditor was saying. And again, he had the same compliments to the water department he did to the village to taking care of
About
the
frugality.
taxpayers.
Yes, okay.
That you're not
Yeah.
just jacking
Yeah.
prices and the billing up every year
Yeah.
randomly and things like
it's
that. And-
reasonable, it's wise,
Yes,
it just wasn't all that clear,
Mhm.
but there was no dispute that that people are doing the right thing.
well, I appreciate the fact that they did that.
Yes. So that said, that's all I have.
And if they're doing the reserve thing and we're doing the reserve thing,
It makes sense.
yeah,
It
it
just, it's
definitely
just
does.
not clear from any documentation you
Right.
see. And that's all.
So
Anyway,
that was helpful, thank you.
anyway, all good stuff. Moving on, DRB, there is no meeting, so there is no notes on that. Kim, we're gonna turn it over to Kim. And Kim is going to talk about the revised draft of the open burning ordinance. Kim, do I need to share a screen, or do you need to share a screen?
Yeah,
And
that'd be,
if so,
yeah, that'd be
if
helpful.
I- Let me see if I can. Will you are a co-host, so can you automatically, you should be able to,
yes.
I don't have authorize you to share a screen, so you must have that automatically.
Yeah, as an open.
Yeah,
should be able to
yeah.
Share the screen.
While Kim is talking, I hope I did the right thing. Because I was just reviewing requirements of ordinances, for which another reason why we're gonna have some group training on July 15th. For those of you who can't see this, well, this is shared screen, so anybody on Zoom can see it. Scott, I left you a copy because I wasn't sure you would have it and everybody else should have had one before.
Yes, I read through that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So Kim, while you're starting, I'm hoping that it's okay to proceed with this tonight, should the trustees vote to adopt, because I didn't include this version with the agenda. I don't know if I needed to by open meeting law. It had been sent out, earlier versions are still on the website and had been hung in all of our appropriate places, but not this specific version 5. So
I don't know the answer to that either.
I don't know. I think we're okay, because if the trustees vote to adopt this, then within 14 days, it has to be physically put in 5 places, the website, and a condensed summary is in the newspaper.
Right.
And along with citizens' rights to appeal or something like that. So I think we're okay. If not, we'll all learn together when we do the open meeting, because I did not see that specific question
Well,
in the
there is
document that I
a
reviewed.
comment or an appeal period.
Yes,
So if we put this up and people have the period to appeal, then we'll know.
yeah, but I just, again, I just want to make sure that we're not doing the bare minimum, but we're going above and beyond the minimum to include as much as we can engagement of our citizens. But that said, go ahead,
Very
Ken.
version 5. You'll see in red that several changes were made at the request of the fire chief. There was a meeting held between Bob Maderos and maybe someone else, I wasn't here, with the fire chief, and his comments were to identify clearly that the fire warden per Act 162 is the fire chief for the municipality. So that's in there as a line item that you see there.
Yes.
And then the campfire, we just changed a couple of words in there. And then again, at the chief's request, we added in a requirement that at all locations for open burning, you must have a pressurized source of water and a hose in place to provide the ability to extinguish the permitted fire.
And that is under number 4, regulations 4.3, for those of you who don't have a colored copy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then those were the only changes made. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. In 6.1, we specifically listed the fire warden, not just any official with law enforcement authority under Vermont law, as enforcement personnel.
Tim, Bob is unable to attend with us tonight, but he said that Ed Myers alluded that there might be a meeting requested with Bennington, the town of Bennington fire warden and Ed about this matter. And Bob asked if there was such, would a trustee attend? I said, of course we would, and I'm hoping that could be Ray Molyneux, since Ray has kind of been a point person on some of this with the Myers before. I don't know, Bob does not know if that meeting is to be held, but I suspect we could still go through with our review and potential adoption of this tonight and
Sure.
see what a meeting, if any, should hold.
Well, once the adoption takes place, there's still the period of potential review by the
Yeah.
public and so forth. And
Okay.
so during that period, the meeting can facilitate the transfer of control from the
Okay.
Bennington fire warden to our own fire warden or deputy fire warden, depending on what Chief
And
Myers does.
I think people would be very satisfied with having that local North Bennington presence again, because nobody knows more about burning ordinances and the history of such in the village than the Myerses. So,
Can I ask a question?
yes,
Can we just walk through a scenario how someone would obtain a permit? I mean, is there gonna be a number that you call, or
That's how I've always done it. I have.
At this point, this is an ordinance. This
Right.
is not the regulations or the forms or the fees or anything associated with the actual mechanics of running the program. This is just the ordinance that gives the power and defines the roles and so forth. So there's time ahead for those questions. And I'm sure the chief will be intimately involved with those decisions.
That would be how it was to be administered.
Right,
Right.
I understand.
But
Okay.
without the ordinance, nothing would happen. So.
Right, of course.
okay.
And this has taken care of the issue of, like, backyard fires for, what do we call them? I forget. You have some.
Oh, like a campfire.
Tara has her
Or is that
hand
what
up.
we call
Oh,
it?
Tara has her
there's
button.
also a brush
No.
fire.
Oh, I thought you had a hand up. Oh, no, that's my screen, sorry.
No, I'm just thinking of like fire pit stuff.
Right. Fire pit would be a campfire.
Campfire.
That's, yeah,
Correct.
that's what I understand.
We've taken care of that particular issue in terms of frequency that you can do it and so forth and so on.
We have, there's no limitation on the frequency.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
So Kim, are you looking for a motion?
That's up to the trustees. We are presenting it, and if you choose to move forward, you choose to move forward. It's the planning commission has written this in good faith, and
And the
It's-
recommendation of the planning commission is to adopt it.
Okay.
absolutely.
So, maybe since is Tara on?
Tara is on.
Tara, do
I'm
you
right
have
here.
any issues with the revised?
No, everything that I was concerned about was addressed, so I think that it is a good and well-written ordinance that can stand.
Thank you, Tara.
And we've taken care of who's the fire warden for this village.
Yes.
is- I have no problems with it, so.
I'll make a motion that we adopt this ordinance.
I said,
Oh. Dave,
Dave's.
there was a race,
Dave said.
there was a race, but I think Dave had his voice first. So we have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
More time for questions, but I don't believe there is any. I don't see, but let me ask if there would be any question from anyone in the audience. I see none, I hear none. Then I will call the question. All in favor?
Aye,
Then we are unanimous.
thank you,
in
Kim.
passing this. Thank
And
you, Kim.
planning
Excellent
commission.
job.
You're welcome. Past bit of business, we presented and you passed a short-term rental ordinance that has, as far as I'm aware, not gone into effect. And the trustees will need to identify the fees and move forward with publishing those fees before anything can happen with that ordinance. So it is passed, but is languishing.
So noted, and we will put that in the minutes. And that is one of the action items that fall to us. Myself included.
So the planning commission is working against a action items list that they developed through going through the municipal plan and determining what our goals were. And then picking those out, simplifying them and putting them in an Excel spreadsheet. This is one of those that rose to the top in our last meeting. We'll continue to work against that action item list, and you'll hear further recommendations for actions from the Planning Commission as we go forward.
Tim, may I ask you to not share your screen now?
Yes.
Unless you want to show something else, of course. Okay, we're back. We're back seeing everybody and everybody seeing us.
Okay. And I think that was all that was on the
Okay.
agenda for me for this.
And I can report that we do have a meeting on, is it the 22nd of July?
I believe that's right, 22nd. Yeah.
Let me just take a quick look. I didn't put it in. Yes, it should be the 22nd of July. Okay. All right. Any other questions for Kim? Any comments? Kim, do you have any questions for the rest of us? Or
Nope.
we'll move on. Okay, let's move on. New business, like I said, the BCCD is going to be deferred. I do have I'm able to announce yet another grant that the Village of North Bennington received. We were the recipients of an AARP Community Challenge Grant. And we were awarded $15,000 to put covered bus shelters in North Bennington. We have none. There were well over 10,000 applicants. There were just under 1,000 people, if I remember my facts, I should get them correct, but there were several thousand, I should say, multiple thousand applications, and there were about 1,000 that were awarded, and North Bennington was one of them. And I thank profusely, specifically Jenny Rosicki, director of the McCullough Library, for helping me write this grant, because I was overwhelmed with it. And Jenny is a master at it. So she was very helpful, as was Becky Manning. And who else am I forgetting? I'm forgetting somebody else. Christine Graham
Okay.
also reviewed and had a suggestion for me. So with that powerhouse of women, we have our grant. And Norm, unfortunately, there's been quite a bit of change since that grant went in. But one of the stations is going to be at the E&G Mart, the old gas station. I have permission from Sage City Syndicate Board, who is the property owner, to use that property. The gentleman at Green Mountain Line who helped us when we were developing this is no longer there. And some of the information he thought he could provide is maybe not entirely available now, such as very low cost used bus shelters. But we will go from there. Norm was also involved and helped with that. And we are meeting, and if anybody else is interested, we're meeting with the operations manager of Green Mountain Lines at the site there on Friday at 8 o'clock, this Friday at 8 o'clock. So that will be exciting.
Are these like a standard structure?
Yes, they're I can't remember the dimensions, maybe 6 foot by 7, 15 or 18 feet.
Okay.
We'll look at, and they're also going to have inside, there's going to be a locked case so that materials can be hung there, a bus schedule, a library schedule,
Yeah.
goings on in the village.
Okay.
Nice.
The round table, the North Bennington round table was also helpful and would like to, help keep materials up to date and accurate in there.
And how many in the village?
We had, the grant was for 2. One was going to be hopefully at the Muse, the Homestead Muse
Yeah,
Apartments.
okay. Yeah.
But since the time that this was done, and the grant was applied for and then awarded, Green Mountain Lines has assessed that the ridership from that location is not sufficient to have a scheduled stop. So there will be service there, but it will be by appointment. So I now have to find out whether, and that's what the operations manager is going to come and look at the other sites in the village. Is there another appropriate site for a shelter, or do I go to the AARP folks and say, look, things have changed. What if we just did one shelter? Because the shelter price is doubled from what we thought it was going to be.
Has it? Oh, it has.
Yeah, because we thought
They were used and now
we
they're
thought
gonna
that
be
we were gonna be able to get used ones
Okay.
for very little cost.
and there's no thought of having a structure here.
There might be, but it depends on the bus company and what they deem as the
Right.
appropriate ridership.
Yeah.
But yes, this was a second location that was
But
contemplated.
this has a good covering.
Yeah.
To get out of the rain, in other words, we
Well,
already
if you
have,
stand under that tiny little place there, yes, you can.
well, I mean,
Well, I mean, this place, yes.
yeah,
But when the bus is here, yeah, people do, there is a bench, so that is possible for people, but we'll see. Anybody that anybody that wants to come, show up 8 o'clock on Friday.
will this bus shelter be lighted? or, not?
Typically, they were not, but that is something that we can look at. We can do, as Norm always says, you crawl, you walk, you run. If we crawl and get it in here,
Yeah.
then we can walk and put nice information in it, and then we can run and put maybe solar lighting or something.
Yeah,
But we did
go.
talk about that when we made the application.
Yeah.
That was not necessarily covered in the grant, and it's a maximum, it's kind of just like a one lump sum. So,
Right. Okay.
the village will have, and we will bring back to this body, the village will likely have some uncovered costs. For instance, Norm's time and labor to dig the thing. We may have to pay for the cement if
Yes,
that doesn't
sure.
cover the bus shelters as we thought. So, but still,
Nice.
it just shows that you get good people together and they can all help us. And again, many thanks to the
That is
very
powerhouse
helpful
of
women who
people,
helped
I would
write this,
say.
because I could not have done it on my own. Next thing is that our resident Marnie Kraus requested whether she could sponsor a standalone bench in that space on Prospect Street across the river there from the fire station. There's a little
Little park.
bench, yeah, there's that little park,
Yeah,
which I think there's a concrete table there. But she wanted to put a
oh,
standalone
in that
bench.
little park?
Yes,
No, it's not a concrete.
It's marble.
marble,
Yeah,
okay,
Fred Brownstein.
okay, thank you for that. She would like to put a standalone bench kind of sitting, looking out onto the creek.
Sort of looking at the
Waterfall.
lake, the impoundment. and the
Yes,
Waterfall.
yes, and she would have a plaque, to Doug Kraus, her husband,
Mhm.
who also did a lot of work around here. I responded that previously we had, and Tara, I need your wisdom on this. That we had a resident asked to put a sculpture with a dedication.
Yes.
And the decision was made that that could be on municipal property for 1 year and then move to some private property, be it a library, the Red Mill Apartments, the condos, the stone houses down there, or whatever. So does that same thing apply to a bench?
Is this actually supposed to have a plaque on it? Or
Yes, she would like to have a plaque, how you have a bench with, you have little,
In
a
memory
little
of.
in memory of
Yeah.
embedded in it.
Mhm.
I don't wanna, I think we have to be even-handed for all requests. But we have had people donate benches down at McWater's Park.
Well,
We
and
have
that's where I
people.
think it's a functional structure. It would be on municipal property, like where it would be set.
Yes, yes. And we would have to ask Norm if he could secure it and if he would have a problem securing it and how difficult that would make their maintenance of that area be.
Right, okay, so definitely run that by him. I think we could do the same thing and say it can be there for a year and then we can reassess at the end of the year. If it's well used, if it's, something that people are actively, utilizing as a functional piece, then perhaps we can make that assessment. But to be even-handed, as you said, I don't think it would be a bad idea to say, we're going to start with a year and then assess it at the end of that year. But because
But is that, go ahead.
just because it's got a function, whereas a sculpture is a sculpture, and a bench is a bench, it lends to the community's usage, where a sculpture is beautiful, but again, we don't want to have 14 benches or 14 sculptures because everyone loves their family and All of them contributed to the community because
Yeah.
everyone does. You know, just to be even-handed, I think that
Okay.
we should be careful that we said no once, or we said a limited yes once. And we want to be fair about it.
Yeah, and I mean, yes, we do. So what if we do this? I'll talk to Norm, get his assessment.
Yeah.
I will also talk to Marnie and sure, because I did tell her that that was the previous decision.
Yeah.
But that I would bring it up here. Ask if she could secure a potential second location.
Sure.
Hmm.
I'm not really clear on where you're putting it. You're putting it next to like Pangea and the bridge?
No,
No.
no, opposite that.
In the
Oh, on
little
the other
park,
side of the road.
the other side of the road, the other side of the bridge,
Tucked in behind the wall.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
And
at the bottom of Jeannie
with the
Jenkins'
viewing
property.
of the waterfall and
Yeah,
the pound, the.
There
the
isn't
pond.
already something
Excuse me.
there.
There's a marble
There's
table.
a
that
marble
we're-
table, but that's upwind of where you're talking about. It's
Right.
right under the wall, more or less under the wall, the shadow of the wall
Okay.
to,
I mean,
Is
honestly, I'm fine with it because it has a function. And
Yeah,
if
I
we
agree
want
with
to
that.
move it, we will contact her about moving it. I think that has to be a part of it, right? So like we offered the functionality of the sculpture for the previous person saying, yes, but if we need to move it, we're going to move it. We can do the same thing for the bench. If it causes a problem, if people aren't using it, if the fire department hates it, whatever, we have the right to move it.
okay. So let's not make a motion on that. I'll find some further information and come back next month.
Yeah, make sure Norm's okay with it.
Yes,
well,
okay.
to point out the obvious, the Lincoln Square Park has a whole series of engraved bricks that mention people who are in this village, or some of them are not in this village. They're remembrances of, so, that's in that park and it's a permanent fixture.
Yeah. No, but those
Oh, that's-
were,
That was
Those-
a project though.
when that went in, that was an initiative.
But
right?
it's a project funded by the individuals who paid for the stones or.
And there are
bricks.
probably likely still the ability for more people to
Oh,
put a
certainly,
remembrance.
certainly. I'm just saying that actually figures in this discussion because those are memorials.
Yeah,
I don't
So
think the issue is the memorials. I think it's we can't have too many. I
I
mean,
mean,
we
getting into one-offs now.
yeah.
I don't think.
I think the bench is functional.
Yeah,
And
I
we
don't
have
think it's
benches
gonna
in the
happen.
Lincoln Square Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
But,
like 20
yeah.
people are gonna come out and have sculptures that they want to put, as memorials to people in the town and or
Yeah.
the village and have so many things that we can't stand it and becomes like cluttered. But that's why we made the decision last time that yes, it is allowable for a period of time, but it may have to, have
Yeah.
an end date.
And even though it has some function, I'm still thinking that perhaps we're better off making that same decision, and I don't want to belabor it anymore tonight, but we'll think about it, but
Yeah.
I don't want to be slicing and dicing so much that every time there's another thing that might have some function, we have to assess that too.
No, I agree. I think we just have to have a flat policy and go by it and then, assess it year to year or whatever.
Memorial trees and things
Yeah.
like that.
And
Yeah.
the crow sculpture is still getting put up. It's getting put up at Haviland's.
I didn't
yeah.
know that.
So they found a private property that will be in
That's
the
a good
village.
choice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Good. Okay,
That's a
thank you,
good choice
Tara.
since the person's name is attached to Haviland's privilege as well.
Okay, well, I'm gonna leave that discussion then alone. Also under new business, I wanted to again mention again the open meeting law training that we will do as a group. An email was sent to everybody involved, at least all the chairs, on July 21st. We'd like to have 2 members of every board and commission. Oops, hold on. Coming in, I think I missed somebody wanting to come in a while ago, but here we go. I got myself distracted. Anyway, we're gonna do this open meeting training. It is important that we do this. And you can be in violation of open meeting law, and ignorance, the old thing, ignorance is no excuse for the law, does not stand. We can say, well, we're just too few people and there's only 1 or 2 of us. That's not an excuse. We have a website, so we have certain other requirements that we have to do. And this was honestly one of the reasons that some years ago, the having a website was punted from year to year because there are requirements to maintain it.
Yes.
That said, at some point, and maybe another budget discussion, is we've got to talk about the appropriate web management. Maybe we need, maybe we need to make it easier to do this or have.
So, sorry, just a question. Did you mean to say that ignorance is no excuse, is still the rule or not? the
No,
rule?
not the rule.
Oh, not the
Ignorance is no
rule. Okay.
excuse for
Thank
not
you.
following the law.
You intended that. Okay,
Yes,
thank
yes. And inconvenience is no excuse for not following the law.
you. Oh,
You can have
okay.
extreme hardship, but you've got to, there's yes.
Do you have a time for that meeting?
That, thank you. I was asking in the email, I asked people when they wanted to do it, it could be anytime after 5 PM. Since there is no DRB meeting, we could keep a 7 o'clock. If people wanted to, we could do earlier than 7 o'clock.
The 21st. Okay, in
It's
the
2
evening.
Tuesdays from now.
Yeah, okay.
What works best for everybody? And Lori, if at all possible, it would be probably nice for you to attend. I can set up a Zoom.
I will be in the lovely state of Maine on that
Well,
day.
then we're not asking that. And the only reason, okay, the only reason I say that is that, again, it is possible that we will want to develop a policy for who does what when.
Yeah.
So that we have one consistent policy and all departments and commissions kind of know the same thing.
Yeah,
Once a year, the chairperson is required to do a training through the Secretary of State on this. But it is not all of you who are required to do it. It is the chairperson, the select board person, the mayor, or the town manager required to do that. And then that is their responsibility to impart such knowledge to everybody else. I think we have to view this as a group and all learn together, because
So it's
as
a physics-
anything that the state writes, there's a nuance.
So it's a physical meeting.
I
here.
think it should be a physical meeting here
Good.
because I'm gonna show it on the big monitor.
Oh,
I
okay.
totally agree with you there.
Okay,
Yes.
so what time do you want it to be? 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock?
Who's that? Oh,
Earlier is better for me.
Earlier is always better for
6.
me.
For you?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I'll go with 6.
Okay, we'll do 6 o'clock.
All right, 6.
I can tell you that I have a chemo dose that day, so I'm probably out.
I'm totally fine with that, but Tara, could you get somebody else from the Development Review Board to do that?
Is Chris in the room right now? Is Chris attending?
Yes,
Okay. So that's one. I'll.
I
even
didn't
if-
think Chris could be on the Development Review Board.
I can't.
No, but I mean, he's like a representative of that space.
No, he can't representative of DRB, no.
Okay, I'll email the crew.
Okay, and Kim was at least on the list, but, unless that's Jan, somebody's Jan, that might, I don't know, that's on here. But anyway, each chairperson, please see if you can't get a couple of people, to attend. All right, the next thing is, also the ordinance that I mentioned, that there's gonna be a July 15th. It's 9:30 to noon here, in this building, to learn a little bit more about our ordinance adoption and enforcement. Anybody can come to that, but it's probably more, I know Chris is gonna be there, probably mostly DRB, not DRB, Planning Commission. But this body is the ones ultimately responsible. So knowing something about it would behoove us all.
And I would be here too.
That is here too. Again, it'll be on the monitor.
And that's a Tuesday, right?
That is a Tuesday. That is July 15th.
Right.
That is July 15th is a
That's a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
And that is one that I have already registered the village to do, so I'll get the webinar information that usually the day before that. And I can send all this out to everybody. One other thing that we had discussed this briefly via an email discussion, is the Bennington Museum wants to host a road race. I believe it's a full marathon length.
13 miles.
13, so half marathon.
Yeah.
Thank you. Through Bennington, Old Bennington, North Bennington, and passing various 250th commemorative markers.
Right.
And Lori, I'll look for your guidance here to whether we actually need a motion. I know we asked around, Chris had there was nothing from zoning that was required. Ed Myers is aware.
I don't think, we have not had to, we have several throughout the year. And I know, for example, the school never comes to
Okay.
ask for approval for the track and treat,
Right.
and they do that every October. And then there's the Zimianic Road Race, but what they're responsible for is they will contact the police department for traffic
Okay.
control and the fire department. And as
Okay.
long as they know that that's up to them.
And
Okay.
first
We-
day parade is another thing that gets done.
Okay, well, the museum had sent an email to the info email address asking what our policy is if we needed permission. I didn't think so, but I don't want to unilaterally say that without everyone's knowledge of
Well,
such a thing.
It seems to me, I had a little email exchange with Alex. It
Okay.
seems to me that they are going to take care of
Okay,
all the bases.
all right, well, we'll make sure that we note this for the minutes so that the public knows that something's coming up. I'm sure the museum does way better outreach than we could do.
Did you have a date on that, when that will be?
I don't. I
Not
don't.
yet.
It
Okay.
was in the email that you all have.
Yeah, it's like isn't it the 20th?
I don't remember. But you'll have that. The final thing that I wanted to mention is the Voltrek renewal, and we did was it 4 or 5 year, Doug?
I believe it's 4.
4-year renewal for the maintenance and up any damage or anything needed for our EV stations.
Good.
I also have done some research as to what the rates are. We charge 35 cents a kilowatt hour for the use of this. If people keep their vehicles plugged in for an extended period of time, they're charged an hourly fee so that nobody just uses it as a parking space. But I have done some research for other EV stations in Bennington, in Manchester, in Arlington. And our rates, a lot of municipal things on municipal property remain very low cost, if not free. I don't think we can do that. So I'm going to get
Yeah, no
an
way.
electric bill I'll get it from Lori, couple of the recent electric bills we've had, because we get a separate bill for the station here. And I'll likely recommend increasing the rates, even a slight amount, from 35 cents to 45 cents or 50 cents an hour. And I think that, that
Yeah,
might do
I
it.
think the privilege is to have it there available, but we
Okay.
should not, the public should,
Yeah.
most of us don't have EVs.
Yeah.
and-
But the public benefits from
Yeah.
environmental assistance.
Mhm.
Nevertheless, I'll bring that back at some point. And I will then be asking for somebody else to start learning how we do all of this reporting stuff, because I've only got a few more months and then somebody else is gonna have to take it over. So when I go to do that upgrade, if any of you wish to learn how to do it, I'll bring my laptop in and we'll sit there. I have to go back to my how-to book to figure out how it's done anyway.
Mhm.
But one of these other things to put on somebody else's list to volunteer to do. Okay. That's all I had for new business, to add in there. Under old business, we had the MERP grant discussion. We do have our cost exceeding the grant. Good news is that Callie Fishburne at BCRC has helped us provide information to Efficiency Vermont as to what our expected costs are, given the estimates that we've had
Mhm.
versus the budget, the amount that was provided by the grant. And Efficiency Vermont has tentatively said that they may be able to help with the fire station, which has the most significant increase
Requirements.
because of the additional there's gonna be 2 units put in
Two
there
units, yeah.
instead of just one.
Mhm.
The other thing that Bill Christian did is he measured all the big windows in the upstairs for window dressers, window inserts that
Mhm.
we do as a community build. I
Which is a
personally
big-
have been done this
yeah,
for
okay,
many
right.
years.
Those are pretty large.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that estimate comes to just under $2,000
Mhm.
when I put that into the system.
Mhm.
I did ask Efficiency Vermont if they could help with that. They're not sure. Callie is helping to update the results and we'll get that. But that may be one of the things we look at, again, in conjunction with the fire station. Although, fire volunteers were there with Bill when all this was done. And so that's one idea, or one potential source of excess funds. And then I know you were gonna look at,
Yes,
At
I'm meeting
the-
with, Rich Albert and
Yeah.
Kathleen Wilkinson
yeah,
next Tuesday here
okay,
to review.
review what they had said to all of us, okay,
Right, just to
Good.
review what they're doing here, particularly because, these outdoor units are large units.
Yeah.
Where are they gonna put that in respect to this building?
Mhm.
And often you see the piping for these units going up on the outside. of the
Yeah, right.
building.
Yeah.
So that kind of issue,
Yeah.
but the basic thing is just to walk through what they're
Yeah.
doing and. Cause from their proposal, it's hard to understand it.
they did walk us through the committee that was
Okay.
meeting there.
Yeah.
But you would be way more able to understand and digest some of that
Yeah.
than we did. And they talked about putting things off the ground, perhaps up under the eaves.
Yeah.
And having slightly different applications for each of the buildings.
Yeah.
Norm's building, you might want to talk to them about
I
that.
talked to
but-
Norm about that this morning. He seems to be all set with that.
Okay.
But I certainly will. I'll bring it
Yeah.
all up and then we mentioned,
When would this be? I'm sorry.
it's next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Um,
So that's the 14th.
yes, the 14th. I didn't write down the time here. I have it on an email, but I can send that around.
Yeah, if you send it around, maybe.
I
I'll
wouldn't
try
mind,
to-
Yeah.
doing a walk around, in terms of, you know, cause that is, I've noticed that piping that goes up the side.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure.
They
that-
had some ideas about not having a lot of that extraneous stuff,
Good.
but I'm sorry, I'm not really the one to be able to relay.
Well,
Relay
my
that to
experience
you.
with these is that, you know, we often can have these units remote away from a building if there's a spot that can be
Mhm.
screened. with
Yeah.
Yeah.
Landscaping.
Like we have a-
The
Yeah,
only, the requirement from the historic preservation was that it was not facing a major street.
Right, okay,
So it could be tucked back here.
Yep.
But right on by this window, and then for the other side of the building tucked back in
Okay.
there too.
good.
So
Good to know.
thank you for
Anyway,
doing that,
but
having,
walk me through the process too, just
Yeah.
to see if there's, you know, putting heads together and see if there's a way to
Good.
save some money somewhere.
good, because those of us that have been doing this really don't know much. And again, we really tried to um follow the purchasing policy
Yeah.
and could not get another estimate,
Yeah.
could not.
Okay.
Yeah,
Neil
that-
Kenyon has been helpful with this too.
Mhm.
And he tried and was
Yeah.
unsuccessful to help us get another quote as well.
Okay, and I'm gonna add that.
Yes.
We're gonna run up to the water department just to put together a proposal for
Yeah.
the office up there.
Which will not be part of the grant.
Right.
Yeah.
The office at the station or the?
No, I'm sorry, at the treatment plant.
Yeah. treatment plant,
Yeah.
yes.
Just because it came up and they
Yeah.
need AC in the summertime up there and that, and I just.
Yeah, that makes good sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
The other
Mhm.
thing David is gonna kindly help with is with the MERP, were you gonna do something else with the MERP?
maybe.
No, you're gonna look at that for us.
There might have been, I'll
Oh,
think back.
Okay,
back through my
but,
notes,
but then, here's what it is. We have two proposals accepted for the weatherization. One of which is for this building. That's what it is. You're gonna be here. Or no, Bob Maderos is gonna be here on Friday.
Okay,
And we're meeting with, the gal who we accepted her quote to put the vapor barriers and stuff in this building on the
oh,
ground.
yeah, I'd love to be here for that.
Okay, that's I'll send you that time.
Okay, all right.
Hold on, let me
Yeah.
look. Norm is gonna be here, but Norm might not have the whole time. Bob does not have the whole time that he can do it either.
Okay,
That is from 8, starting at 8 o'clock. It may go past 8 o'clock.
I'm gonna pass on that.
No, excuse me, I am incorrect.
Cool.
That's the other
No.
meeting.
yeah, that's the bus.
That is at 1:30 in the afternoon. It's at
Alright.
1:30 in the afternoon.
1:30 on.
The
Friday.
weatherizing.
This Friday.
If you
Okay.
have time at 8 o'clock, meet Norm and I with the AARP grant thing. Okay. Then we also had, Bill Christian helped us get a quote for doing the insulation in the garage. And we've accepted that quote. That's also in the budget.
Okay,
And so Bill and Norm are gonna work with Farnham Insulators to
okay.
get that part done. And then, we'll just keep plugging along and moving along and see where we go, but we are getting down to the final months of having to wrap this up.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
get the work done, sooner rather than later and get it all scheduled.
It's really exciting when you think about, you know, we're really moving into the future
Yeah,
and,
all the more important
really.
for David, thank you for looking at the exterior of the building. If we're putting this money, whether it's ours or the state's, if we're upgrading the interior of this building, let's take care of the outside as well. Why put in a great system if the outside's falling apart? And while we're at it, when this is done, because I know, Kim and the planning commission have been asking for quite some time to make this a real meeting room
Mhm.
with AV abilities and a monitor that, you know, people can see and all that kind, better lighting. all of that will be done. The water department would greatly love to use the other meeting room as their official meeting room and be able to house some of their materials over there so that they can have the members of the public come, pay a water bill on certain dates, see some of their documents and sketches and things like that, which is a great idea. And so we can help them get to that part. We're gonna
Right,
also,
sure.
hopefully, if this body approves it, for a nominal fee, fix the bathroom upstairs. So that the upstairs of this building is useful as well, even though it's not handicap accessible. But it is still useful.
Great.
Anything else? I've exceeded my time. Shall we motion to move to executive session?
Okay,
And Lori, if
I'll
you
second
don't,
it.
okay, if you don't have all the right wording for that, that we are moving into executive session to discuss a potential legal problem, premature disclosure of which could be detrimental to one or the other party. Thank you, Chris.
Chris.
Take care, Chris.
So that is the motion. Who made that?
I did.
You did.
I second.
And Ray seconded.
Second.
Thank you. Yes, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Good, Tara is still here in the dark. Okay, let me stop recording. Cat TV and Jan, whoever Jan is, you're going into the waiting room. I do not expect any motions to be taken coming out of this, but we will pull you all back
Recording
in.
stopped.
Let me put in waiting room.